Good morning, Trumptopia. A special segment of the almost daily Zencast. Hosted by the incorrigible Mr. Zappa. Let's talk Trump.
Good morning. Trumptopia. Saturday, March 21st, 2020. Yesterday was the day 20. I should do something extra special on the... Why am I so behind on coming up with cool shit for the show? On the 20th of every month, when it's 2020, that sounds like a sentence. 2020. Okay, I digress. Gonna put a pin in that and maybe try and come back to it. How are you doing, dear friends and listeners? Is the global lockdown treating you right, or is it treating you bad? I guess personally, I can't complain. I'm one of those that is at least partially identifying with that statement that's gone memey and viral. It's gone all memeified. That you realize how isolated you've become when global lockdown happens and you don't have to adjust all that much, or something to that effect. It's been phrased a couple of different ways, which is why I just phrased my own. Hashtag phrased my own. I'd have to listen to the tape to know what I just said. I couldn't reconstruct it right now. That's my brain works. It's really weird. Hashtag I don't have a new hashtag. Hashtag I don't have a new hashtag. That's a good one. We should do that one. Okay, so here we are, friends and neighbors, fellow human beings, brothers and sisters in the species we all call home. We are on global lockdown. For some reason, the first headline that I looked up to after sort of flipping to a random tab of the various tabs I have laid open is about buying stuff, like shopping list. Here's what all y'all are spending on as of right now. And what actually first caught my eye was that right on it, it's got 2020, because it was published yesterday, March 20th. And I digress. The headlines lately, that's where I was going. I was just gonna give you all my opinion. First off, I'm going to take a step backwards and remember that I wanted to say this only because it's, part of human nature, and it's sad and adorable and cute and weird and awkward. But Kenny Rogers, who is very much in his own right a legend, not only of country music, but also of general entertainment. He just recently passed away, I think, in the last 24 hours, apparently at home with family. So, condolences to all that. Now, I'm sure that already, and I wouldn't be surprised, I would not be surprised if I typed it in on the interweb searchy bar widget, and right there, boom, Kenny Rogers' death conspiracy theory. Multiple variants, basically mutually exclusive and competing, but all of them having 100% verifiable proof. that is the new norm. That's the real new norm that I'm not sure anyone's really, really talking about and thinking about and questioning why should we let that be the new norm. If you haven't heard it yet, I strongly encourage you to take a gander over at the Pick a Lane episode, because although I think I got a little bit punchy in the middle there, I may or may not have been sipping on some tequila as a late night methodology for fighting off germs that may or may not have imaginarily made me wonder if I might be feeling a little tickle in the back of my throat. Also, put this in the lessons learned category. I yell when I do my podcast. I need to just talk like I'm talking to my favorite pet cat. And just sort of it's sitting on my face. I'm just going to talk to it because it likes the low rumble of my voice. That's the sort of, and not force it, and not do it like I'm standing dead center in some insert famous theater name here, and I've got to project out to the 5th tier back row nosebleed seats, right? I don't need to do that. So for those of you who have been putting up with that and having to figure out how to adjust the volume on that shit, I apologize. I've also, so what else? Oh, I guess I wanted to make a sort of retraction of all previous announcements and reissuing of the announcement. In terms of what I've been sort of desperately laggy, dragging my feet on, getting around to actually rebooting a bunch of episodes. I've made hodgepodge is not the right word. Why is my brain trying to make me say hodgepodge next? Hodgepodge isn't even the real thing, right? Isn't the thing you can buy at crafting stores is Mod Podge. And the saying is something else. I digress. What was I saying? Oh, right. Rebooting will actually initiate in the coming days, in large part because the world is shut down. And I really, even my own stubborn kinfolk that take no guff and have no truck with nobody's declarations and proclamations, generally speaking, are complying with this after a little bit of passive-aggressive trying to get away with non-compliance. But that's just us. That's where my family, however interesting, always been a bit spunky and stubborn. Just a little streak there in the middle. But I digress. That wasn't a calling out of anyone in particular, but indeed just sort of like a comedic acknowledgement to some aspect of truth in the real world, without getting into detail. So, right, the world is effectively, shut down. There is on this, I'm on the NPR sections, NPR / sorry, let me take 7. I happen to be, out of curiosity for, catching up. I just woke up, right? My coffee, I just drank a cup of coffee, and that was a blur. And it hasn't kicked in yet. And I'm now drinking tea for the throat and to avoid indigestion, because too much coffee is bad. So I'm trying to do this, coffee, tea, one other thing alternating sequence so I can still have multiple cups of hot bevy in the morning, because I need that. I need some hot liquid first thing after waking, or else I don't feel like a functioning adult, simulacrum from another dimension. Cybernetic simulacrum? Is that a good phrase to replace robot with? Because I'm really, really worried that I just can't go around saying robot from the future. Right? Like, someone's going to get on my ass about that. Out of anything I've done on this podcast. Experimental performance art, free speech license, plus this ultimately all can be condensed into a sweeping piece of, like, theater art. Although it's way too many hours of actual podcasting, because I just ramble. I lose track of time. But here we are, together, again, for the very first time, to quote Dave Brubeck. If you don't know who Dave Brubeck is, you're missing out on a quintessential example of one of America's most innovative, I love the way the British say innovative. They say innovative, and it's just like, that's just so Englishy. I love them, those Englishy people. They talk so Britishy. Get all Britishy Englishy in my face. I digress. They, what did they do? Who did what? You know what happened? In my mind, in the theater of my mind, I suddenly cut to wrong sequence. Instead of more information about thoughts about what I could be talking about, I cut to the scene in Eddie Izzard's, is it Izzard or Izzard? I've never been sure, and I've always said both, just to cover my bases. Who, by the way, he's like a personal hero of mine. He's a lovely human being who's just like, I am what I am, and I'm funny about it. Be my enthusiastic audience. Huzzah. And he, flag. He's got a bit about, he goes places and American adult strangers who have multiplied and have small American clone children will stop him in the street and demand that he talk British to the kids. Talk British to my kids was sort of like this line that he gets to, that he kind of he's a funny stand-up. If you've never seen any Eddie Izzard, Dressed to Kill is kind of like, it's a great place to start, because it's 100% solid, funny stand-up from opening bit to ending bit. And his other specials, one could argue, right? It gets snobby about stand-up comedy, HBO 1 hour and a half long specials, and critique. But Dressed to Kill, it's one of those, like, it's a piece of that art's perfection. And every great, in my humble opinion, if I may just ramble about this for a hot second, which has got nothing to do with politics and nothing, but stand-up comedy is a lot of things, right? And you can pass a lot of judgment, and there's probably a lot of horrible people, no offense, doing stand-up. There's a lot of horrible people doing accounting. There's a lot of horrible people doing, pokey, stabby, chop your head off with a big thing kind of work, too. So, it's, there's just horrible people, let's be honest. And we can do something about that. If you're interested, please proceed. My podcast gets weirder, but a lot of the threads have exactly to do with that. Like, what can I actually get into? Some of my humble opinion and thoughts on what we actually can do, could do, ought to be doing, might well should be investigating and looking, and pick a lane, accent boy. Right, Eddie Izzard. Go watch him. The other thing I referenced earlier, go check that shit out. If you don't know, I already forgot what I said, but I know that I made another reference beside Izzard a hot minute ago, and I know that it was good. Whatever it was, like, make sure you check it out because you know you don't want to miss out on that. It's very good, whatever it is. And so, but I digress. Digressing, scrolling back up. Right, there was one tab. I opened a bunch of tabs just to sort of scan the headlines because I can't. I don't know. I can't get away from the news. That's a sentence. And we can't get away from the news. That's another sentence. Dare I say, in today's climate, in today's moment, those are two hefty sentences. Well, one sentence because it only applies one of them, really. It's sort of like a coming or going. And right now, the world is on lockdown. I guess that's my new favorite. Is it global shutdown, global lockdown? Global lockdown sounds better because it's like, on one of these tabs, there's a looping GIF. There's a looping mini animation sequence made from actual footage, video and or still photography or otherwise, of the President of the United States of America pointing an ugly pointy finger and clearly sort of like attempting to verbally bitch smack down with some zingers at this reporter. And the reporter, like, in earnestly, like, just, like, throwing his hands open and going, like, wait, what? He doesn't even, I don't even know what he says. And there's no audio, right? It's just a whiff. Say it with me. No, that's a horrible one. I can't even say that one with a straight face. There's so much comedy around the pronunciation of words in general, and then the mispronunciation of certain things that we've invented, like GIF. I do believe that for a flippy image loop thing, it's GIF, and GIF is for the peanut butter. Argument settled. But we truly live in some cartoon Trump world. And it's quite disturbing. And also, and forgive me if I've rambled about this on the show before, but as I don't think I did it in the last two segments, unless memory's totally backstabbing me right now, I just wanted like an honest, here it is. Before I forget, I'll get into this honest thing I was about to say in a hot second, because that was me being distracted from my own distraction. On every tab that I opened, I went to the searchy bar widget and I typed in top headlines today. And I encourage you to do your own searching, friends. Because that way, if you go and look it up, it's not like I just told you about it on my podcast and that's it, right? Like, you get out there and search for yourself. Do your own thinking. And remember, folks, just because you Googled it doesn't mean you've done, quote, research, end quote. Let's not live in a world where Google is research. Please. No offense to Google. They are their own thing. They're great and a little bit, quirky, slightly, all human endeavors have their genuine and misperceived flaws. I typed into in today's Google image is something fun and weird. What is it? It wants me to push play. Is it gonna? I don't want noise. There is noise. Oh, it's about washing. There's a little really funny. I don't know if this is intentional or it's just my brain being sardonic. But there's a totally Ask Jeeves doodle in the Google logo, and it's telling me to wash my hands for 20 seconds. Thanks, Google. That's wonderful. Sorry for accidentally playing your music on my podcast. That was incidental. Don't sue me. Edutainment, folks, and the enlightenment of the world. What was I going to comment on? Oh, at the top of the day, first thing, I poured myself Yesterday's last cup of coffee that I did not drink in my thermosy mug maker, which is an effort, by the way. Like, postponing the last 2 or 3 cups is all about, like, I'm trying to drink less coffee. So, like, if I made one batch of coffee, if I made 2 batches of coffee, I try to, like, push as much of the final, brew into the next day. I don't know how well that's working, but I digress. I sit down with my microwaved, too hot, like scald my tongue cup of day-old coffee, and I flip through headlines in as many ways as possible to just sort of get a sense of the world. And also, oftentimes, when I don't have visitors, lodgers, lodging with me in my lodging house, please, sir, may I have some more? That was impulsive. I don't know why I needed to say that, but I did. I'll turn on the news, right, for about 30 to 45 minutes, and I'll flip, and I'll go local, broadcast, major news cable, broadcast major news cable, broadcast major news cable, and then, the eccentric ones. And I'll check in with the weird Spanish language, Israeli nationalist, but Spanish, it's like a Spanglish. Like, they have a big chunk of programming in Spanish, and then they have the rest of it in English. But they're very, very specifically, and you could just flavor this. If you've never watched Israeli TV, you'll flip to it and you'll be like, oh, yeah, that's got to be what Israeli TV feels like, as opposed to any other, like, national flavor television. But there you go. Boom. A big culture window right there. I would also watch the South Korean news, except that, like, they subtitle it into something else. Like, I don't know if it's subtitled into Chinese or Mandarin or some variant of South Korean that's popular in America or what, but I can't follow along. And I love South Korea. I had the very good blessing of traveling there. Why am I talking about South Korea suddenly instead of the Trump thing that I was talking about? I don't know. But I digress. Oh, news. I flipped through all the different things, and I get up there even with, like, the weird, like, J24 is the Israeli news. I wish the Korean news had American subtitles. I'm just putting that out there for any of because there's a quirky local, I'm fairly certain it's a Southern California local channel that's got, like, pretty hardcore Korean news. Like, it's got the weird graphics and everything. It's like, it looks, if they produce it locally, it sure as heck looks like, to me, like they imported a channel from Korea. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Because it's all the subtitles are not in English, and I don't know how to fix that. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe those are super titles, because those are just on. Anyways, not to get locked in that spiral. I digress. Today I tried something different, because I didn't want to turn on the TV. That's where I was going. And I don't know why, but certain weird things stood out to me today, because what I did that was different was I sat down, I opened my internet browser on my as Lord Xeris puts it, lightning box of demon death. I don't think he actually says it that way, but that's how I would misquote him. Your evil possessed lightning box of demon death. I would love for Lord Xeris to meet Basil. Tragically, Basil and I have been incommunicado. In other words, like, not able to speak for various reasons. And I need to redo the Basil episode, because there is a Basil episode, and it just, like, it wound down a bit too long, and I need to just, like, trim it down to that, like, slightly better length, so that it's just, like, tight and weird and absurd and hopefully funny to people, and then just put it back up, because I think I'm fairly certain it's not up right now in terms of like on the platform. Right, so today I opened a bunch of different links from typing in top headlines today. Because I got a bunch of different, like, had I open routers? I love routers, Reuters. I have heard it pronounced Reuters, and I suspect that if there's like a snobby nerd, like, nerd glasses push person in the world that knows for certain, I would imagine that they would tell us that it is actually correctly pronounced Reuters. But Reuters, Reuters. They're like one of the backbones of actual news information. If an actual news reporter has filed a story, they carry like the generic news across all. Well, they've got a network. It's a whole thing. News. It's weird. And yada, yada, yada. I know all the conspiracy theories about news. You don't need to tell me. Although, by all means, feel free to tell me. Brand attribution guidelines. Oh, look at that. Let's read what that says. Reuters news information is of the highest quality and editorial integrity, and the Reuters name and brand is a distinguishing mark of excellence. The Reuters brand attribution guidelines are part of your agreement with Reuters and ensure that you are able to easily leverage the strength of our brand. Capitalized terms used in Reuters brand attribution guidelines have the same meaning as in your agreement. What? Oh, terms that have capitalization. Attribution stuff, translation of content, credit, translation of content. Okay. It says, sorry, I'm leaving you with lots of airtime. Quote from the website, if you are using content from Reuters, right, I just said it wrong, Reuters service as source of facts, figures, statements, quotes, background material, and or other portions of text, and combining it with non-Reuters provided material to create original news stories, you will give reasonable attribution to Reuters or the relevant third-party providers as the source material within your finished story. Unless explicitly mentioned in your agreement, you are not required to credit Reuters for video or live video content incorporated into your client property. However, credit to third-party providers' video may be required as specified. Blah, blah, blah. So I don't know about request a free trial. News agency products and services coverage about contact. Request a free trial. So apparently Reuters is chill with me reading from their articles as long as I directly attribute them and the authors of the article and the photographers of the photograph. Wicked cool. So new, hot off the Reuters segment is coming to mind right there. But what was my point? To start off my day with day-old coffee recycled in mug, now tea, because I drank that already. I power drank that before I even launched today's episode, as I was poking around trying to get the details together on the cover, as you might say, for the podcasty bits. And I opened several tabs. And something I wanted to mention that was like cute and adorable and sort of weird. Every one of them has a, legendary music icon. Kenny Rogers has passed away at the ripe old age of 81. That's my version of the headline. Everyone has their version of that headline. That's totally my version. If I was a real reporter writing for a real reporting place, and I was writing a story about Kenny Rogers having died this weekend, that's the way I would have phrased it. What's one the AP, which I'm sure has like Reuters, a very generous like just read our shit and tell people you got it from the AP, because they have always been that service in the news industry, but I digress. The AP has this like goofy, squirrely, cutesy, adorable, but slightly awkward and kind of like, cynics will mock it. Picture of Kenny Rogers mid, probably, I would imagine, a very high note, relatively high. And he's adorably like silver fox, like anciently old already in this photo, probably in his late 70s. I don't know how late into his age he was still touring and or performing, but he looks pretty darned not so young in that picture. And then there's another one. Who had it? Hold on a second. That was the AP one. And so he basically, he's got his eyes closed and he looks like he's saying yee, like he's just like singing out loud. And then there's another one on the CNN.com breaking news page. There's a picture of him from like back in the day with the sort of like sexy 70s Santa Claus beard and sort of like gentle swooping every man mountain man hair and just a luscious 80s super wide wing collared like it looks like 3 or 4 buttons are undone, but that just might be the first button on the shirt in a like red velour lounge jacket, just looking the epitome of 1974. And he is that person. He's that icon. And in general, I thought it was really cute. And then there's the weird one on Fox News. They picked the one where he looks like the creepy, slimiest, most like, I've had plastic surgery done because I'm rich and wealthy and an evil version of myself. I mean, I don't think that they were trying to find that picture of Kenny Rogers, but they did. And there it is. I said it. No offense to Fox News. Don't sue me. And on NPR, their photo, and I'm totally not giving proper. I just read the bit on Reuters about attribution to individuals and content, where any picture and graphic is attributed to any individual in addition to writers and or third party. You must clearly and prominently display such attributions. For example, writers / Jane Doe, where Jane Doe is the name of the photographer. And I just clicked through like 5 image references and didn't read any of them. So the NPR article on their like splash page, and go do me a favor, friends, as listeners of the show, like go click on some of these, drive some traffic, but also like, drive some traffic back to this show. Like tell people about the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo, that's how influencers influence, isn't it? By wink, wink, nudge, nudge, inviting you humbly to 3333. I totally missed it. It was 356. 3356 just then. I don't want to bullshit you. But I meant to say it on time, and I didn't. I digress. What was my point? The NPR article, photo taken by Charlie Gallet for Getty Images, I believe, because it just says / Charlie Gallet / Getty. But it looks like if Kenny Rogers ever had I gave the world the fucking middle finger moment, a la Johnny Cash, because that's an infamous, world famous, no one remembers. Actually, let's do that. Let's take the hot moment it is required to type in Johnny Cash picture into the search engines for posterity, just because it's applicable, not with a Z, Johnny Cash. I'm not even going to try to, find the picture. Johnny Cash. and then go to images. Middle finger one. Come on. Is that one exclusively like on a t-shirt and never to be seen on the internet? There's a lot of cool Johnny Cash photos on this tab. Especially a couple of him just like sitting in a tuxedo smoking a cigarette. There it is. Johnny Cash, overrated. Xwithsticks.com. No, I guess that's like from a Bash article. Sorry, Johnny Cash. But there's a world famous Johnny Cash photo from like, I don't know when back in the day of his career. And he's like, I thought he was wearing all black, but maybe I've had a Mandala effect universe shifty, multiple memories of this. He's on stage at some venue, and he's apparently not wearing all black. He's wearing an outfit that arguably is either white or gray or a very light, like charcoal. I don't know. Or tan, because it's a black and white photo, right? And he's like rocking out on the guitar, and he's like left the strumming hand has left the guitar to like give the camera person, the camera lens, the like just the rock solid middle finger. And I first saw that image in junior high, I'm fairly certain, on somebody's t-shirt, right? Like somebody who loved Johnny Cash. And he couldn't have been more than like 16, 17, 18, maybe 19 at the time. And may have been even younger than that. He may have even been in junior high with me. I don't know. Because quite honestly, the memory of the t-shirt image is super lusciously vivid. The understanding of like where that came from, like what was all the dynamic context at the time, very hazy, very hazy. But there's the image again, full size. The other one was cut off, and so like you couldn't see his hand. But there's I scrolled down way deeper, and there's one other instance of this picture, and it's a fuller cropped shot of it, and it's up close, and he's just like, and he's also like saying "fuck you," clearly. Why am I talking about Johnny Cash and the Bird? Because there was on the NPR page this photo of Kenny Loggins is like humorously weird and cute because he looks like his most like fancy dressed grandpa he's ever looked. His beard is tame. He also looks the most Santa Claus-y because it's no longer the wild like I live in the forest and hang out with polar bears, like wildly astray beard. It's a very contemporary, streamlined, like very conservative, straightforward. But he's in a weird fancy tux with like buttons down both sides, which I don't understand, and no collar, like it's a no collar tux jacket. Maybe the collar is just like super white. I don't know. I can't tell. And he's holding a mic, and I don't know what it's from. Kenny Rogers performs I clicked on it, during Muhammad Ali's Celebrity Fight Night 20 in Phoenix, Arizona in 2014. Charlie Galley /Getty. From an NPR article about Kenny Rogers passing away. And what's humorously humorous to me about this image is that his left hand, right hand, I can't tell which, one of his hands is in a fist and facing up in such a way and at the right angle that it looks like he's just literally one or two, photo snaps of a moment away from just boing, like, flipping the bird and launching that middle finger into people's faces, and it just totally looks. It killed me. That one, that and the kind of hokey pokey weird one of him singing like a high E cat screech sound over here on the AP. I'm gonna click it open to find the photo by Wade Payne /envision /AP file. That picture, man, Wade Payne, like, it's sort of goofy. And fun. But, you know, he's obviously singing some awesome Kenny Rogers song, maybe even The Gambler, as that article beautifully references. Oh, I just closed that tab completely. I didn't mean to. Other things I wanted to talk about. Oh, also, if we're going to go ahead and go through the Kenny Rogers memorial picture critique, this other picture on NBCnews.com by Kevin Winter /Getty Images, file. Like, poor choice, editor. He looks like he's in a sweaty, swampy shirt, and he's like too hyper casual. And at first glance, talk about some comedy misinterpretation. He almost looked like he was Sig Haling. Like, he just looked like, what is he doing? Oh, he's holding his mic out to the audience so that they can sing along to some awesome Kenny Rogers song. Like, no, man, pick a different photo from that photo shoot. I think, personally. No offense. Don't sue me. So, oh, that's a fun article. I opened all these different tabs, mostly to get a sense of what's going on in the world. I get a sense of what's trending, who's commenting, who's poking jabs at what, and who's talking about Johnny Cash giving the bird every day. No, and just to see, right? And obviously, the world is consumed by hyper fixating on coronavirus. Trumptopia is consumed on hyper fixating on coronavirus, and we're all stuck here in our own homes, suffering through it. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up right there on that train wreck of a not even transition. I didn't talk about any of the things. I pretty much I fixated on Kenny Rogers passing away. May he rest in peace. No offense to him or his family. I thought the pictures were just adorable and cute and a little bit awkward. And some interesting choices. I'm looking at you, MSNBC News, NBCnews.com. Like, you could have picked a better photo. His armpits look sweaty. Like, none of those things are actually going on in the photo. Like, that's the worst part. It's just a weird photo that lends itself to the mind sort of like misinterpreting it. He's got a weird, and I'm kind of jealous of the shirt that he's wearing, quite frankly. He's got a really luscious purple. It looks like it's soft and velvety kind of material. Not velvety. It just feels like a luscious purple. It's my favorite color. And either he's been rocking out and he's a little sweaty and the whole thing is kind of damp in weird, awkward places, so the color is a little dark all over the place and splotchy, or it's my mind. Or also, it's just got a weird color thing happening to it, and it just kind of looks a little bit, at first glance, that like he's Sig Heiling. But he's not, right? It'd be the other arm, I think, also. That's my dyslexia. But I didn't mean to just dwell on that for the whole 40 minutes of this segment. But I'm going to stop now, because obviously that's gone on for way too long. And, I just saw an ad for a thing I want to maybe shop out. I digress. So, join me as I engage in the hashtag stay home marathon of podcasting. I believe that's the hashtag I invented. Hashtag stay home podcast marathon. Yeah. Or marathon podcast. But to be strategic, as I've rambled on long enough for one segment, I'm going to humbly thank you for joining me. Humbly, I'm going to say good morning, Trumptopia. How are you today? Because that's our tagline, and I got to say it one time before we call the show over. And thank you for listening to me ramble, and encourage you to not be afraid, but also, moderation in all things. Remain calm. Take the opportunity that this global shutdown has given us to... I didn't even play any music in the middle. Damn. I just rambled. Take the opportunity that this shutdown, this global shutdown, is giving us to, refeng your house, double down on your lackadaisical meditation practice, learn how to meditate because you've never meditated in your life before, read some groovy books about meditation. If I humbly may give you my all-time favorite, if I had a book club, this would be a book that I bought all the rights to, publishing rights to, and gave away forever, and made sure that every junior high and high school student has access to this book, because I think it's that fundamentally beautiful of a read. Alan Watts's The Way of Zen. So that's Alan Watts' possessive, not plural, The Way of Zen. And make the most of this time, friends. And that includes, if I may humbly, thank you and invite you to binge my show. Let's help each other, right? Because you'll be helping me. I want to make this my career, quote unquote. So, the more ear holes it goes into, the better. And that's how I'm going to end the show.
And that is the latest madness from behind the orange wall. Thank you for listening to GMT, a special segment of the Almost Daily Zencast. Stay woke, Trumptopia. Stay woke.
Oh snap, I just kept I played the outro and I just let it kept rolling, didn't I? And I didn't hit stop.